Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about how do you redact PDF documents. When I say redact, I'm talking about things like where you have to permanently remove sensitive information before sharing that document out to public or somebody in particular. Now, there's a right way of doing this and there's a wrong way of doing it. The wrong way is basically, if and in case if you're practicing this, this is specifically for you. So the wrong way of doing this, I've seen a lot of people maybe using a Word document or a PDF document and go into the edit mode, and they will try and put a black rectangle on top of the text or the content that they're trying to hide, and then save the document, or maybe save that Word document and convert it into PDF, thinking that, oh, we have hidden the information that was sensitive. That's the wrong way of doing it. And the reason why I say this is because anyone with the access to Acrobat desktop application can go into the edit mode and click on that rectangle and get rid of that. So that's what we're not going to do. And we're going to focus on the right way of doing it. So let's jump right in and see how you can do that today. Right, so redacting PDF documents so that you can remove the sensitive data permanently, although you will see similar results, which is bringing those black rectangles on top of the sensitive information. But the only difference here is you actually, so the difference is between the word permanently removing, right? So you're basically getting rid of that information even from the back of that rectangle. So even if somebody tries to get rid of that black rectangle, no one can still see the information behind that. So that's exactly what we're going to discuss today. Okay. So let's just start with one of the sample reports. And I'm going to use this report for the demo purposes for redacting. And say there are a couple of things that we need to get rid of in terms of the sensitive information on this document. How do we go about doing that? First, of course, you would want to convert that into PDF if it's not a PDF already, and open the document in Adobe Acrobat Pro DC, the latest version. And from there, as you can see, I've already done that. From there, what you want to do is click on this word all tools so that you can get access to all the tools. And then the left hand side panel pops up with all the tools. Now you might not see the word redact or the redaction tool right away. So if that's the case for you, click on the button which says view more, which is the link on the bottom left hand side here. And once you click on view more, it is going to expand the tool base for you and give you the access to the redact tool, which is this one. If you don't want to take that long route, you can of course always go to this find text and tool button on the top of the screen, and you can just type in the word relevant to what you're trying to do. So that Acrobat and Adobe makes it really easy for even for naive and new people who never had any experience with Adobe or Adobe Acrobat. You can simply use this search button, type in the word that you're related to what you're trying to do, and it's going to give you relevant results. So for example, if I type in the word redact, it says, okay, I think you're trying to redact the text and images. Is that what you're trying to do? If you click on that, it's going to take you to that tool directly. And it is the same thing when you go to all tools, you scroll down, click on the view more button, and then click on redact a PDF. It's going to take you to the same place. So irrespective of what option or what method you choose, you're going to land to this page, to this column on the left. Now let's dissect these options a little bit, right? So the first option says you can redact text and images. So we'll do that in a moment. The second one is used for redacting the whole pages. Now say this is a 5-page document and one of the page needs to be redacted, but you can't remove it. You need to show everybody that that page was there, but you just removed it. You want to show everybody that's been redacted rather than deleting that page, right? So if that's the situation you're in for any reason, you would want to redact the whole page rather than removing that page, right? Um, the third option is really handy, and we'll talk about this in detail as well, which is finding text and redact. It's more around when you don't know what you're looking for, and maybe there are some patterns like emails or phone numbers, and you want Adobe to use its brain, intelligence to kind of find those patterns and redact them. That's what this feature is going to be all about. And then the last option is setting the properties of how the redaction will behave, right? So let's click on set properties first, because there are a few changes that I did, but I'm going to reset those changes back to the default because I want to show you the default behavior first, and then we'll talk about the customization you can do here. Okay, so let's just go. We can leave that as it is. Okay, so let's just go back and use the first option, which is most probably the option that you're gonna use every time that you redact or go into the redact tool. So which is redact text and images. How does it work? You will simply click on this tool. So you see how you can like click on any of these tools out here within redact a PDF. You'll simply click on redact text and images, and then you'll go to the document and you'll see the selection tool. Your cursor behaves like a selection tool, and it will let you select anything that you want to. But the only difference this time is the moment you are done selecting it, it's going to mark that document or that part of the document for redaction. Remember, I said it is going to mark that part of the document for redaction. It's not going to redact it yet. Redaction will happen at the end once you're done marking everything. Okay, so let's scroll down and say, there are some numbers that you want to hide. So you'll simply drag your mouse, your cursor over it, and you will select that text. Maybe I want to select the text 300%, and that is maybe say a confidential information for any reason. I just select the text, and then it kind of shows you those the rectangle box kind of telling you that this is the part of the document which will be marked as redaction. And it will also, if you take your mouse over that area, it will show you how the final results will look like, right? So this is the final result would look like a full black rectangle with no information behind it, right? So that's how you basically use your cursor to select the area of the text. So maybe for any reason, I don't know, if a part of the text here needs to be redacted, or maybe that the heading needs to be redacted. So it doesn't matter, right? So whatever you need to get redacted, you will simply take your mouse over and select that area, and you would be able to select that text, and you'd be able to redact that information or mark for redaction for that text. Now that's something you can do for the text, but what about images? How do you redact images? Because the tool says redact text and images, right? So you can select the text by just taking your cursor over it like this, but how do you do it for the image? For the image, you can simply drag and create a rectangle on top of that area that you want to redact for that image, something like this, right? And this is going to create that whole, it's going to hide, and I shouldn't use the word hide. It would permanently remove the information behind. Even if it's an image, it will permanently remove that information behind this selection area. So you should be good. If basically if there are images, you will simply create a marquee rectangle by using your cursor, something like this, right? So that being said, maybe that's all you need to do. And once you're done, you will hit the word apply. You'll hit the button apply, which is the one on the bottom left hand side of the screen, and it's going to all the marked text and images for redaction will actually be redacted, and it's going to say, hey, where do you want to save this document? So it will produce another document, a copy of the document for you, and it's smart it's actually smart doing that, because it doesn't let you override, or by default at least, it doesn't override the document that you're working on. Why? Because it knows that if you override the existing document, then there's no possible way for you to bring that information back. So it's being smart and giving you the option to create a copy of that document rather than overriding it. And we'll see that in action in a moment, because I want to show you a couple of other features and capabilities and things that you can do to speed up your processes while redacting document, right? The other thing I want to show you is finding text in Redact. So if I click on this, it's going to say it's a standard message that you get. You'll just go ahead and hit OK, and then you get a panel uh, on the left hand side, which gives you a couple of options to use a smart way of finding the information and redacting it. So it says, the first thing it says, hey, are you looking for those words or whatever information that you want me to search only in the current document? Or do you have a whole list of PDF documents that you want to redact? So think about this. Say if there are like, more than one document and you need to redact similar information on all those documents. So rather than doing it one after the other, you can actually point it to your local drive and folder in the files and say, hey, Acrobat, I want to redact, I don't know, say the social security number from all these 100 documents so that I don't have to do it one by one. Or you can say, hey, find all the phone numbers in these 50 documents and redact them for me, right? So if that's the thing that you want to do, you will choose the second option. But in our demo, for the purpose of this demo, we're just going to stick with the basic, which is the current document only. So we'll use this tool to find some of the text and information and mark it for redaction. But you can use the similar method for doing for multiple PDF documents too. Okay. Now the next section says, what do you want to search for? Do you want to search for a single word or phrase, or multiple words, or pattern? Single word or phrase, I mean, straightforward. It's like finding any text. So if that text is being used multiple times, so for example, you can see chapter title, rather than you manually dragging your mouse over, I don't know, say if this is repeated 50 times in the document, rather than you finding it 50 times and doing it manually, you will come up here and say, I'm looking for chapter title. And then you see how I haven't kept the same title, which is fine because I'm not going to check the case sensitive button, which means that it's going to look at the other cases for the similar text, right? So chapter title, and I'm going to say, yeah, search for this text and remove this text for me. So the moment I click on search, it says, oh, I found three places where this text or phrase is being used. And these are the three places. Now, if you're not sure and you want to double check, you can click on these hyperlinks and it's going to take you to that part of the document. So say, for example, I'm here. And then if I click on the first link, it's going to jump right onto that part of the text and show you where that search result is coming from. So that's really handy. But say I'm sure that these all three needs to be redacted. Rather than checkboxing each, I can simply click on the check all button on the top left hand side of the screen, the check all, and it's going to mark all the search results that you got. And it's going to say, yeah, I marked all of them. Now, just click on the button at the bottom to give a confirmation, which is, hey, Mark checked results for redaction. So I'm saying, hey, Adobe Acrobat, I'm sure about these three results that you got. Check them all and mark all the check result for the redaction. Again, like I said before, we haven't redacted them so far. The only thing we are doing so far is we are marking all the text and images that we need to mark for redaction. And the redaction will happen on the last step when we hit the apply button, which is this button here at the bottom, right? Now, before I apply this, I want to do one more thing. Let's click on the new search button again because we want to try the second option. Let's go to new search. The second option you have is multiple words or phrases. And this is handy when you know that there's always a fixed list of words and phrases that you had to get rid of in all the documents every single day or every month or frequently, right? So rather than searching for those words again and again, what you can do is you can create a repository of those words, maybe in some sort of document, and say you can click on import and then import that document here where you have the list of words and phrases that you wanted to search and remove for you. And that really speeds up your process because you don't have to manually search for them and redact every single time, right? So you can do that, or you can simply type in the list of words here So for example, I can say table content, I don't know, brown, over, right? And then I can again say case sensitive or whole word only, whatever is the result. And I can say okay. And you see how it actually quickly find all those words and mark them for redaction too, right? And then the last one, which is really amazing and powerful, is finding patterns. Why? Because there could be situations where you're looking for emails and social security numbers and phone numbers, and they're like all different types of data. Uh, so you can't really search for, to say there are like 10 different phone numbers. Now, if you're trying to find those 10 different phone numbers, you would have to do 10 different searches for them, right? Or you need to manually scroll through the document and find them, or maybe there are, say, 20 different email addresses. Now you can't really use the single word to find all those. You would need to do 20 searches out there for those, and you need to know those email addresses to be able to find them, right? So that is the situation. This last option, which is pattern, comes handy because now what you can do is click on the drop down and say, hey, I'm looking for all the phone numbers. Anything which looks like a phone number, search it for me, give it in the result, and then let me decide whether or not I want to redact it, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Apart from phone number, you have things like credit card, social security number, email addresses, dates. In this scenario, for the purpose of the demo, we'll just do phone numbers and emails, and let's see what we get. Okay, so phone numbers, search and remove text, and there you go. You have two results, which looks like a phone number. Again, you can click on the links, jump onto the section of the document to confirm that yes, that's actually a phone number, and then click again and jump onto the part of the document that where the phone number was written. And here it is at the bottom. If I can zoom in, there you go, right? So these are some dummy phone numbers that I use. So hopefully they're not somebody's phone number, but these are the phone numbers that it could find in the document, which is all the phone numbers I had. And then I can simply say check all, again the same exercise, and then say mark checked results for redaction. That's going to do that for you. And now you will see, if I click on this one, you'll see how this is marked for redaction already. In the similar fashion, I can go back to new search, and this time I'll say find email addresses, search and remove text. It could only find one, and I can click on the link and confirm, yes, this is an email, and then mark this for redaction, mark check result for redaction, boom, you're done, right? And that's how easy it is to mark things for redaction. Now, one last thing before I hit the apply button, I want to show you the properties that you can customize, because that's really handy. Because say, for example, right now these are all black boxes, but they don't really tell anything about redaction. But you want to explicitly mention this to the viewer or the recipient of the document, saying, these black boxes are not just a black boxes by error. Maybe you want to say, hey, these black boxes are because there's some redacted content. So maybe you want to say the word redacted or something on top of this. So how do you go about customizing those properties? You will simply click on set properties here on the left hand side. And right now you see you're in the appearance panel. So there's another sub column which talks about the word that you want to use. But let's just go back to appearance, and then it says what color do you want to use to fill. So right now you see the black is selected. You can choose any color you want for the redaction. So that's up to you, and you can use the sliders to change the color or whatever you want to do, but I'm good with the black color here, so that's all good. The other thing that you can do is click on this button, the checkbox which says use overlay text, and what it really lets you do is it lets you overlay the text on top of the black box, which is exactly what we're trying to achieve here. And say you want to say there's this option to put the custom text in, and my custom text is going to say uh, redacted in capital letters, and then I can choose any color which is contrast to the background color. So you can choose any color that you want by using the sliders or by using this color selection wheel out here. You can change the opacity and you can change the saturation of the color, all those good things. But I'm good with the whitish color so that there's the maximum contrast between the black of the background and the white of the text. And I think this looks pretty good. And you can change the font, you can change how it fits into the box and those kind of things. I'm fine, and you can say whether it goes to the whether it's left aligned, right aligned, or middle aligned. So I think I'm good with all the other default settings. I just needed to put that word redacted here so that now if I hit redact, if I try to redact anything, it is going to not only put the black box on, but also going to show the word redacted. So that's kind of obvious for the recipients of the document. I'll say okay to this. Remember, changing the properties does not change the existing redacted document, right? So if you need to do that, you need to do that in the beginning, in the starting, before you start redacting anything. But this is just a demo document, so it doesn't matter. But say now what I want to do is I want to redact this title, SWOT analysis. But look the difference, see the difference. If I click on and if I drag my mouse over and do the selection for the text, this time, rather than just having the black box, it also has the word redacted on top of this. So it becomes a little bit more obvious for the recipient or the viewer of the document that it's not just a simple black box randomly put out there. It's intentionally put out there to redact the information. And maybe that's what you want to do. There's no wrong or right way of doing it, but if that's the way you want to go, um, you always have the option to set properties and customize the behavior, right? So that being said, let's say we are done with everything and we want to hit apply. Now, the moment you hit apply, it's going to pop up with another disclaimer. It's going to say, this is going to permanently remove the information, right? So it's not just hiding it. You're going to get rid of this information forever. There's no way to bring it back. The other option it gives you, in addition to what you did, is saying it's kind of like proactively thinking about, okay, maybe there are a lot of confidentiality in the document. So maybe it's wise to give you the option to sanitize the document and remove the hidden information as well, right? So there's a toggle box. And if you enable this, not only is going to redact the document, but also going to sanitize and remove the hidden information for you. Now, when you say hidden information, if you click on this I information button, it tells you everything about what it considers as the hidden information. Metadata is the data about the document. So things like who created the document, what software was used to create the document, what was the date when it was created, what was the date when it was modified, different properties of the document, right? So that's all everything comes under metadata. Maybe there are some scripts or hidden layers that you want to get rid of and you forgot to get rid of those. Maybe there's some hidden text or whatever. Maybe there are some comments that somebody did on your document and you want to get rid of those comments before you send that document out for public to view, right? So all of that comes under the sanitization piece. Now it's up to you whether or not you want to use that. I would highly encourage you to do that, but for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to disable this and hit continue. And you will notice once the redaction is applied, it's going to say, hey, you should save this as a new document. Can I overwrite the document? Yeah, sure enough. If you point it to the same folder with the same name, it's going to overwrite the existing file. I do not recommend doing that. Why? Because of the same reason that there's no way to bring this information back. So it's always wise to create a copy with a different name rather than overwriting the previous document, right? So I will choose the document folder that I was working on, and I'm just going to say, this is my redacted report. You can say anything that you want here and then hit save. And that's about it. And now you'll see this is your redacted document. I can close this. I can go back to the file that we just saved, which is this one. And if I open this file, you will see the redacted information with the black boxes. So that information is invisible, and not only it's invisible, but if you try to get rid of these boxes by going into edit and say, I want to get rid of this word redacted and I want to get rid of this box, you see there's absolutely nothing behind it. You will see no information coming up, right? So that's the power of redaction, and that's why you should use this method rather than putting some rectangle boxes on top of your information that you're trying to hide. So that's all from my side on redacting PDF. In the next video, what we're going to do is we will talk about how do you compress documents and how do you make your file size smaller. And there are different scenarios we'll talk about. There are different levers we'll talk about, so that you are able to reduce the size of the document to the maximum, to the minimum number without compromising a lot on the quality. So that's the goal of the next video. If you like this video, please click on the like button. If you want to see more of these videos, please hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, anything that you want me to make a video on specifically, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Adobe Acrobat. It could be any Adobe program or any Adobe non-Adobe programs. Please let me know in the comments and I will try to do that. Until then, thank you for listening. Bye-bye. Have a good day.